Welcome back to another Post-Media Senators One-on-One. I'm Bruce Garrioch, pleased to be joined today by former NHL coach and general manager Doug MacLean. And Doug, as we speak today, the Senators are in the midst of a 3-day break, and they have a 6-5-2 record in the Eastern Conference. They've kind of gotten off to I don't know if the right word is middling start, but I think that's the right word. Go ahead. You know what I want to ask, so go ahead.
Yeah, middling start is a media comment, So you guys use middling start, and I say
You were in the media, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I got fired from there too. So 6-5-2 for me is an okay start. 3-1-1 in their last 5 without Tkachuk. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here. I mean, Greeny, to me, Travis has been up against it a little bit, not to have his best player in the lineup and his emotional leader, we'll say. So I think it's okay. I know they gave up a couple late losses, a couple late leads where they probably could have put teams away there, and that's something they've got to focus on. But you know what? I'm okay with where they are, and especially with a 3-1-1 in the last 5. Here's the challenge: 8 of the next 10 are on the road, I think, and yes. that's a monumental challenge.
No. Is it? No, they start a string of 6 in 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
They have a 4-game homestand. You're right. 8 in the next 10. Pardon me. Sorry about that.
That's a tough step, and I still say they're a little thin on the wings. Not a lot of depth there. They can't afford injuries. So I'm okay, and that's with a goaltender who is he not worst in the league for expected goals against? Is he not?
Yes.
With an 800 and whatever save percentage. Yeah. So I mean, it's the same thing we talked about this time last year. He's got to find his game, and when he finds his game, I think it puts him in decent shape.
I know you're not supposed to equate salaries to performance, but this guy's making $8.25 million.
I'm equating it to salaries.
Yeah, and Doug, today, as you and I speak, they rank 31st in the league in save percentage.
Right. And it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, besides that, he's acting very immaturely to me.
Yeah, the whole
immature comment was immature.
Yeah, no, yeah, I didn't like the whole, and even he did a mea culpa, which is rare for him.
Yeah,
okay,
but we've had that. Stolarz did it, and then he had to claw back. Wolf did it in count. I mean, these are like, just stop the puck and earn your money. And look, goaltending's a tough gig. We all know that, and frustration sets in, but the team doesn't need that type of commentary, especially a young group. And yeah, we say they're a young group, but they're all of a sudden now there's expectations on them after making the playoffs like they did. And I think I'm kind of pleased with where they are. I think they've got a chance to become a better team.
Doug, one of the things that I think they run into trouble with, there's 2 areas I want to talk about. Number one is they have been scored on, as we speak, first 11 times in 13 games. That to me almost seems statistically impossible. Now they've come back to win some games.
Yeah.
But doesn't it just leave you chasing the game?
It's not a good thing, and it's a thing that drives GMs and coaches crazy too. That's the other thing, because when you give up the first goal, everybody says, well, it's motivation. They're not ready to play. Which to me, but you got to be careful there, because how many of those first goals were not NHL goals? When you look at an 800 save percentage and you look at first goals against, how many of them? I mean, if you break it down, which I'm sure the coaching staff and management have, you know what? So you got to be careful on that. And the fact they come back to win. I mean, I watched their Calgary game really close. I thought it was a hard fought battle by Calgary were desperate, and I'm looking. we talk, everybody wants to be negative, and I'm saying, is Sanderson this kid is really coming into his own. I mean, he took charge of that game, and I had Sandy, his father, in Columbus. He was a 40-goal scorer, good guy. I mean, is this guy? People are telling me that, this guy looks like Scott Niedermayer in the league, and Schaefer looks like Scott Niedermayer, and I'm thinking Sanderson might be pretty close to Scott Niedermayer before this guy's career is over. Yeah, the way he controls and plays the game. So I was really impressed. With him, and I haven't watched him all that close the last couple of years.
I think, Doug, that he's an automatic for Team USA, and we should talk about him because not everything is bad. But the other guys, and I find it interesting. You compare him to Scott Niedermayer. Do you think he becomes even more so when he becomes a bit more physical in his play? Is that? Well,
Scott was not physical, but he was tough.
Okay.
And he was a tough competitor. Remember, Ty Domi went after him. I mean, it didn't faze him. I mean, he was a tough competitor. So, Jeff Sanderson was a 40-goal scorer, and he wasn't the least bit nervous on the ice. He was a skater. He was not near the hockey sense that this kid has, in my opinion. And I love Sandy and his 40 goals in Columbus, but this guy's got more hockey sense for me. So obviously the mother's really smart. So I think, there's a big upside here. And does he become more physical when he becomes more confident? Maybe, maybe that's it. But that's the least I'd be worried about with him. As long as he's protecting the front of the net, that's always an issue for it's the same with the kid, in Montreal, and they pick him up $9.5 million, and he's on the island. He drove them crazy because he was soft in front of the net, So I think this guy, as long as he's solid in his own end, that's all that really matters for me.
Do you think that him and Pinto should be joining Brady Tkachuk on Team USA?
Pinto he had an amazing start. He's always been a really good player. I don't really care who plays on USA.
Yeah.
But here's what I really like. When I look at Stützle, Pinto, Cousins, and Eller. Lars Eller's been a good fourth guy pickup. Good pickup.
Great addition.
So I look at that center ice and I say, I really like that center ice. So whether Pinto makes it or not, he's still going to be a real important player. Stützle, did I see him playing on the wing against Montreal the other night?
He might have a bit, but not much.
Maybe just enough to piss him off and wake him up and move him back to center. Where he was flying.
And I was going to say to you, he was one of the guys that had to step up. Him and Sanderson were two guys who had to step up in the absence of Brady Tkachuk. A lot of players did. Yeah. A lot of players have, but Stützle has been a difference maker, hasn't he?
Yeah.
This guy's got the skills to pay the bills.
Oh, and he's a treat to watch. I mean, he's flying, and he's also. I like the competitiveness and what Ottawa means to him. He's an Ottawa Senator, and that's what I like. So I really like their strength down the middle. I think they're thin on the wings. I think they're thin there. And, it'd be nice if they could add to their group. I noticed they're only carrying 22 players instead of 23. Is that to save money, or is that so they can bring the radio guys on the road, on the plane? What's that about?
Oh, my God.
I just wonder. I mean, the Leafs don't bring their radio guys. I thought, to save money. I thought maybe that's why they only carry 22 guys. But anyway.
You're out of control.
I'm going to get you in trouble.
Yeah, I'm going to be in so much soup after this. When my
That's
phone,
why you only have me on every 3 years. Every time you get a new contract, then you'll have me on when you feel like you're comfortable with your deal.
Oh, my God. Where were we? Oh, I wanted to ask you, you know what? You were on, and you forgot to tell me, okay? But you were on with Real Kipper and Bourne. Okay. The only job you really have left that you're not paid for.
The only job I don't want.
Yes.
I'm trying to get fired from that gig.
But you were on with them, and you said after they played that, let's call it for nothing else, lack of a better word, crap show in Quebec City, that they would go out and get toughness. And they went and got Kurtis MacDermid.
That afternoon, didn't they?
Like within 24 hours. What did you think of that move?
You know what? I'll tell you why I thought they did. Because I was watching McEwen, who I happen to really like as a kid because he's a PEI guy, fighting the heavyweights, and he's that's not what he should be doing, in my opinion. But I thought they needed a heavyweight. I didn't like the way Montreal behaved against them in that previous game. If you recall, there was a lot of chirping and a lot of mouth, because they think they're tough all of a sudden. I just thought that's what they really needed. I had heard MacDermid was available, so it's sort of, I didn't say his name, but I had a pretty good feeling that was going to happen.
And I'm not an
insider. Look, I'm not an insider. I just go, I go by what I.
But you're usually right.
I've been wrong quite a bit, But anyway.
Want to talk about Lyle Oline's contract again? Or anyway, no. Where were we? No. One of the things though that we saw in Montreal on Saturday night was the Habs were bound and determined to make Nick Cousins pay for his slash on Ivan Demidov. Now, when you play the way Cousins plays, there is a risk that at some point or another you're going to have to pay a price. But here's what I find interesting, and go anywhere you want with this. Cousins tried to fight Alex Carrier. He said, "Nope, you're going to have to fight Struble." He tried to fight Brendan Gallagher. Gallagher said, "Nope, Strube's told me he's taking care of this." So he fights Struble. He had some stitches under his eye this morning. What do you make of all of that?
I watched him with the hits from behind, the dirtiness or rat-like play that everybody wants to. Taberki's favorite line, he's a rat. You know what? Cousins has made a career for himself, and do I like some of the things he does? No. Do I expect other teams to take shots at him? I mean, we've seen all kinds of these guys over the years, I mean, they used to call Brad Marchand a rat. I mean, he's an MVP all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, look, you play the way you play and you accept the consequences. What I liked about the game was Clevin fighting Bolduc. And I'm thinking, that's not his reputation. Clevin, is it? I know, but he certainly stood in there. And I if you're going to have the Cousins, you've got to have some team toughness. Yeah. And there's some guys stepping up, giving them a little bit of team toughness, which I really like.
Last question, and I think we both. I think they're going to be a playoff team, don't you? When all is said and done.
Yeah, it's such a dogfight. I think if they can survive this road trip coming up and get Tkachuk back, I don't have any doubt they're going to be right there. And Ullmark is, look, he's going to bounce back. I mean, it's okay to say he's 800 save percentage, but he better bounce back. And the kid, I mean, they've got the kid in Belleville that's up and down. Has he not got start potential as well in goal? I mean,
I wondered if he might play. Yeah, I mean, when Ullmark was injured last year, he went 8-1-2 or something in 11 games. Like, he had a great outing.
So that's a positive. So look, I've got them in. You know what I've got? It's hard to believe this. I've got Toronto. When I do my number ratings in the league, I've got Toronto and Ottawa. This was going into the season. I had them on Kipper's show as a dead even with the Leafs.
Yeah, and
if they add a top forward, a top six forward, if Toronto had a top six forward and Ottawa don't, then that could shift the balance. So right now I've got them even, Steven, both the same to make chances of making the playoffs.
Well, Doug, We'll bug you in 3 years.
Did I get you in any trouble?
Much trouble. Yeah, I'm in so much trouble right now.
You'll be scared to death to run in. You'll be scared to death to run into Greeny and Steos and Poulin there. Buy Poulin a cup of coffee, and you'll be fine.
All right. Well, you have a good day, and we'll talk with you soon. For Post Media 101, I'm Bruce Garrioch. Pleased to be joined, I think, by former NHL general manager and head coach Doug MacLean.